Hey guys, Chris and Susan from Your Dear Magic here. Sorry about the delay, we're having a little bit of technical issues, but we are on now to talk to you guys about Disney Cruise Line and our recent cruise, so we're very excited about it. We didn't get any questions in ahead of time, so if you guys have questions, feel free to throw them into the comments and we will answer those as they come across. But we did just generally want to tell you about our experience. This was our first Disney cruise, and it was very exciting. And we learned a lot of things. So we just wanted to kind of pass on some of that information to you guys so that you can learn from what we experienced, and maybe your Disney cruise will go a little smoother. Do you have anything in particular you wanted to start with, or?
No, well, this was our first family cruise. So learned lots of things we had known about ahead of time. Other things we didn't. We learned a lot of things just sort of as we jumped on the ship and as we experienced things from left to right. So what we wanted to do in this, as far as live, is just kind of make it an open forum and nothing formal. For us just to kind of discuss some of the things that we experienced, what we enjoyed, what we thought would have been better if we had known something about it. And as you guys come on, that you guys can throw in some questions as well. We're going to just generally talk about some things that we have done over our 4-day cruise, and actually it's a 5-day, 4-night cruise. And then afterwards, kind of talk about some of our favorite things. And at the end, open it up if we have some people on there who have some general questions. Definitely make that available. What I would like for you to do is, if you're watching this and you're not already a subscriber to us on YouTube, please do us a favor. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that bell notification when you guys are watching this now. So that in the future, when we have new Walt Disney World videos pop up, and hopefully new Disney Cruise Line videos, because as I'm editing through and going through all the video and pictures we took this past week, I'm going to be putting up a lot of the videos. I wanted to do the Q&A first, and then we're going to start releasing some vlogs here and there. And when those vlogs come up, you don't want to wait for me to have to put them up on Instagram or Facebook. I want you guys to get notifications on them immediately. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, that little bell that gives you a notification alert as to when a new video comes up on Ear to Ear Magic. Also, if you're already watching us on Instagram or Facebook and you're not doing so on YouTube as well, we'd love to have you guys part of this one large community, and it just helps us out as well as we build the channel. Facebook's awesome, Instagram is great, but for bigger things like this, we really need to have the forum and the capability of putting something on YouTube so that we can talk and do sort of longer videos overall. So. Yep. I will say this, Susan's going to try to follow along as far as comments and questions. Because of our problems, I don't have a secondary screen, and I'm not going to be able to see the questions. If you have something that comes up as a question, what we're talking about in the present, please pop it in there and let us know. And if it's what we're talking about, Susan's going to kind of bring that up. If it's a question that is not quite on topic, might be better to discuss later, we might write it down, note it down, and come back to it during the Q&A session at the back end. So we're going to try to just kind of generally talk through, and like I said, at the end we'll kind of open it up to all kind of questions if there's anything that we haven't talked about that you want to get prepared for your next cruise as well. So are you sharing it now? I am sharing it on Facebook for friends that haven't logged on yet. Yep. So if you guys have another screen, if you're watching this on your computer and you have your phone up, if you want to help out by sharing the link that Susan's putting out there, that would be great as well. The more people we have on here, the more questions that get asked, the more things that pop up, and you might think of some new questions as well. So appreciate you guys jumping on. So let's go ahead and get started. Are we good and share it there? Yep. All right. So first of all, cruise. We know a lot about Disney World. We've mainly because it's an everyday thing. We know the characters, we know the places to eat, we know how to get fast passes, all that kind of stuff. We know a lot about Disney cruises as well, and Susan's been doing quite a bit of work for her clients and booking and helping them do their cruises before. Yes. But for me, this was my first cruise. This is my first time being on a boat, period, of this size. Now, I've been on a boat, but bass fishing boats don't really count, I don't believe. No, it wasn't anything like that. No. So this was an experience for me just to get on the ship, and really an emotional one as well. When we first got into Port Canaveral, we did actually park off-site. Yep. Why did we park off-site and not on-site? because
It saves a little money.
It was-
It's also something that my clients ask about periodically. So the best way to know how something works is to experience it firsthand. So we went ahead and did that and parked at one of the ones that was close by. So
saved us a little bit of money, and it really wasn't that bad. It was a short van ride down the road back, and I don't think that I would have any problems doing it again if the need were to arise. So we got to Port Canaveral. We got into the Disney Cruise Line building. It was fairly simple for the most part. No issues whatsoever as far as security was concerned. I was really, to be honest, I was really expecting a much larger space. That was just me as far as what I was envisioning. It wasn't that huge of a space, but there was a lot of queue lines. Lots of people were waiting. We got there right before noon.
yeah.
Right there before 12 o'clock. And we checked in really quickly. The line wasn't really that long, but there were a lot of people waiting. And the boarding group at that time, I think, was boarding group 7 or 8.
It was
Somewhere around
4
there.
while we were checking in, and by the time we were done with that, it was at like 6.
Okay.
So yeah.
So it was in the single digits.
Yes.
We decided that, we were going to go jump in line and go see Captain Minnie and her gloriousness. She was actually changing out with Captain Mickey. And so we got in line for that. And by the time we were actually through the line and met with Minnie, our boarding group number had already been called and passed. So it wasn't really that bad as far as weight goes. So lots of times people will say, get there really early. I think it can be said that you can either get there really early or it doesn't really hurt to get there a little later. I think we actually had some other friends that went along on this cruise with us, and they got there much later than we did, and they were like,
they walked right
onto the ship.
Yeah, without any wait. So you kind of have to weigh your options. Would you rather wait in lines, and that means wait to check in and then wait again to board onto the ship? Or would you like to walk right on? And boarding early does allow you a little bit of time to maybe grab a bite to eat, walk around the ship, kind of get to know things. They have a couple of tours of the ship on the first day before departure from the port that kind of give you an idea of where to find things, so you can get to those. But if you don't like waiting in line, maybe you have younger kiddos, that's a challenge for them. Getting there a little later means that you walk on quickly, so you don't have a lot of that wait that you have to deal with. So it's.
And here's a really weird and obscure tip, and I hope you guys can expect these kind of tips from me that really, like, one person might benefit from. We walked past the penny press machine, and I'm not really big for press pennies, but this was my first cruise, the first time ever being in the port, and I saw the penny machine. I thought, well, why not get a press penny with the Disney Dream, which was the name of the ship that we rode on. And lo and behold, I did not have a penny. I think I had the quarters, and I didn't have the penny. And I went looking. It's time to get on the ship, so I missed it. I was on my checklist to make sure when we got back to port to grab that. After we went through customs, they wouldn't let me back up to the top. So, weird tip: if you want your press penny with the name of your ship on it, make sure you get it before you get on the ship, because after that,
cashless system there, so
yes.
You're not going to find anyone who necessarily loves, that has. You're not going to have any place you can change out $1 or something like that. They are cashless, so make sure you bring that with you if that's something.
And overall, as far as preparing for the thing, we actually brought a little bit of cash. Unless you're using the cash at the very end to settle your account or something to that effect, cash is not going to do you any good from the day-to-day basis.
No.
They won't take it. They won't take credit cards. So when you walk onto the ship, you will get your lanyard, your pass. We actually, if you're a DVC member, so show up a little early at the DVC booth at the port, and they'll give you a nice little DVC.
They're only there until like noon outside, but if you can show them a DVC card, they will give you
nice lanyard.
A nice lanyard, and we got one for everyone in your party.
So they give you your key to the world, which is a very important card that you want to hold on to. This is your room key, and this is your payment key. This is to show you everything you need to do as far as the muster, for the preparedness at the beginning of the ship, everything. So
lots of information.
You're going to want to have make sure you keep a hold onto this.
It's also your pass to get in, on and off the boat at ports, so very, very important to
So
hang
it's
on
best
to it.
if you don't have a lanyard, go ahead and bring one, or, you know, use one of the facilities there to make sure you have a lanyard that you can use.
Yep.
Something else that you're gonna need to have for your, as far as a card is concerned, and really this is what that card is for as well, it's when you go into your stateroom for the first time, you're going to have to turn on the lights. You cannot turn on the lights unless you activate the power in the room.
And they would say, well, use your key to the world card to do that, because their goal is that you take the key to the world card with you, and so that helps them to save electricity, which I love the idea of, but we always try to turn all of our lights off. However, here's the thing. I don't know about you guys, but that is not something that's preset in my mind, and we had a lot of rushing in and out of the room, going here, coming there, getting ready for dinner, and then right back out again, or whatever we were doing, always in a hurry, it felt like, to leave. And I know that if I had had my key to the world card in that slot, I would have forgotten it and been locked out of my room.
Because if you move it in there to leave the lights on and you walk out of your room, the room closes, you're out,
Yeah,
you're done.
and you can't get back in.
Can't
I
get back
mean,
in.
maybe I could have contacted someone else in our party, one of the boys, Chris, to let me back in, but that would have been highly inconvenient. So I highly recommend that you have a card. This is something I'm going to be sending to all of my clients now moving forward, because it is really convenient. This is just one that I can provide to them. But you're looking for something thicker than a business card. If you're trying to finagle this yourself, something thicker than a business card. It's a little more narrow than maybe a credit card, ever so slightly. But just about the thickness of a credit card. It's not even quite that thick. So just thick enough to kind of to push this insert out of the way so that it'll allow you to turn on lights. So definitely something you want to plan for, and it really pays off. So
Yep. We left that in the slot anytime we were in the stateroom.
Whole time.
And if we left it and forgot about it, whenever Gio came in to do any mousekeeping, when he left, he would pull the card out, and this is how cool Gio was in our.
and just kind of leave it there at
He
an
would
angle.
turn it
so
at
it
an
was
angle and
there.
set it on top of the station, so we would still have the card, but it wasn't, of course, activating the lights. So again, you need to have your key to the world card on you at all times. Make sure you have some sort of card like that to help you as far as your lights go. Because the first time you walk in and you can't turn the lights on, it will confuse you if you're not accustomed to what is going on.
It's also, and we have not experienced this firsthand because we had our card that was in the slot all the time, but my understanding is some of the lights are on a delay, the main area lights, so they'll stay on for a few seconds before they turn off, but the bathroom lights, they shut off immediately. So I would not want to be that person, say in the shower or going to the restroom, and have someone else yank their card out and walk out the door and be stuck in the dark.
Yes. There's no way
That
to turn the light
would,
back
no
on.
way to turn the light back on. So just definitely prepare for that. It's a very important thing to know.
Yeah.
So another thing to know is the rooms are never ready before about 1:30. So and that goes for all of the rooms. So it's not like, oh, you check in earlier and you get access to your room earlier. It really doesn't work like that. They are completely turning the boat every time. You would think, oh, maybe they've had a couple days to prep. No, on the morning of the day you depart, they have just come back in and they have offloaded all the things that need to come off and are loading all the things that need to come back on, and they are turning every single one of those rooms. They have very few rooms that are unused during that time period. Generally, they are fully booked. So every single one of those rooms has to get that extra thorough clean that you would expect, say, from a
That you'd
hotel
want for
room.
yours, yes.
Exactly. And, you know, obviously, as amazing as those stewards are that take care of the rooms, it still takes time to do all that. So don't expect that. They don't allow access to those hallway areas at all until all of the rooms are available. They kind of block them off. So, so the best thing you can do is to prepare for that and have what you need maybe in a little carry-on bag. They have restrooms and changing areas, say for the pool and whatnot, close to the pools, or you can use the one in the spa as well for the grown-ups. So, I mean, it's not like you can't access those areas, and just know that that's going to happen, and that'll save you some stress, and then and also some stress for the cast members who hate to give you bad news. So, just be prepared for that ahead of time.
So when you get on the ship, you can't get into your stateroom. What are you going to do? Well, one of two things you can do. Susan said, if you have yourself a carry-on bag with swimsuits, go ahead and change it to a swimsuit, jump into the pool, have some pool time right off the bat. Go ahead and jump into the line for the aqueduct, which is the cool, like a crusher gusher from Typhoon Lagoon, but it's elevated. It goes all the way around
water coaster.
deck 12 and 11. Or what we did is immediately we just said, let's go grab some lunch. Because food is provided. It is included in your cost. And unlike some other cruise lines, all of the sit down and really nice food is all included. So you don't have to worry about it. With the exception of Apollo and Remy, which are the upscale signature restaurants.
And some special character meals that they have that you would pay extra for. Other than that, pretty much any meal you could want, snacks, breakfast, lunch, dinner, everything in between, that's all included. So why not take advantage of it?
We headed immediately to the Animator's Palette, which is the really cool restaurant I'd heard about for so long, about the fact that, it's sort of like a progressive meal and there's entertainment on the walls and the like. Now, for lunch, not so much. It is just the restaurant being used, so you don't have the same experience when you're having dinner there. But when we had lunch, it was still a very nice meal. Very unique menu. Like for that day, it was we're just getting on the road. It was a casting off menu. Everybody sits down, and it was a great meal to have. And of course, as soon as we were done, we walked around a little bit, and we walked right in, and our stateroom was ready. Next thing to know is that there will be a drill before the ship leaves port.
The muster drill, not mustard.
No,
M-U-S-T-E-R.
No condiments involved. But the muster is a must do for everyone. Everyone must go to the muster.
It's required, and they will not start for whatever area you've been assigned to until everyone has arrived. So do your fellow passengers a favor and actually do your best to get there a few minutes early so they can get started and be done, and then everyone can have fun.
The Key to the World card has got a letter right underneath Mickey there. Ours was letter I. That is your basically your evacuation area. If there is an emergency of any kind and they call for an emergency alert and they tell you to go to your area, that is your area. And they are all along that deck. They have signs up, and you can see the letters. Of course, when it's time for that drill, we all went to I. They stood us all in from shortest to tallest. Everybody can see from the family in each stateroom. They scanned one card per stateroom and then checked to make sure everybody was there. They did a quick check to make sure to show us how to put on a life vest if needed, which are all located in the staterooms, and they have some extra ones on the deck as well. And then basically that was it.
Yep.
They basically want to make sure that you know where to go and how to put on a life vest. And other than that, everything was done, and we moved on into getting and ready to getting onto the cruise. Yeah. So we got to do a few open houses. So let's kind of talk about the children's areas.
Yeah, let's talk about some things that are unique to Disney. So Disney, and this is kind of unique to Disney Cruise Line, not available on most other cruises. They have children's areas for all ages. So they have a nursery area that's by reservation only for infants up to the age of 3. They have the Oceaneer Club and Oceaneer Lab for ages 3 to 12. They have Edge, which is for the tweens from 11 to 14, and then they have the Vibe area for high schoolers, for teenagers ages 14 to up 17. To 18, 14 to 17. So you can hear there's some overlap there, and if you have any questions about that, feel free to ask us. But they all start with an open house in every single area so that you as a parent can just walk through, see what's going on.
I'd encourage you to do those open houses.
Just so you can see what's happening, and if for all of those areas, once it's closed, unless they have in the Oceaneer Lab and even in Edge and Vibe, they'll have occasional short open houses where maybe parents might come to see something the kids were working on, or maybe you forgot to register and you still need to register as a child. Other than that, they're closed to adults. Adults are not allowed into those areas at any point in time, which is good for you. It means no strangers have access to your children, and that's a good thing. But make sure to knock that out early. They close before muster, and then they do open up eventually, but then you're running into dinner time and show time. And so if you do get on the boat early and you have kids, Definitely knock that out early, especially for your tweens and teens, because you cannot pre-register them like you can the younger kids. So that registration happens during open house and has to be done in person. So
Now, I will say this, I wasn't watching my time management very well because we were somehow trying to fit all 3 open houses into a short time period.
Yeah.
Going through all the Oceaneers Club for our youngest, who was still young enough to be in that.
if she chose.
If she chose to, which she decided not to be because she's also available to go into the preteen. So she wanted to hang out in Edge. After seeing Edge, we then went up into Vibe. We was checking out Vibe, and all of a sudden the floor started vibrating. And I was like, wow, that's a weird feeling. It turns out they were starting the engines and they were getting ready to leave, and we were still in Vibe. So I was able to run back down, or actually say run back up to deck 11 and see the Castaway Party. As they're casting off, and it was really cool to see the characters do their dance and fun number, which if you guys follow us on Instagram or on Facebook, you saw just a little snippet of that.
Yep.
When they do the countdown and they blow the whistle, and it's really kind of a cool party to be a part of. So make sure you're on your schedule, you look for that because you don't want to miss that party.
No.
Speaking of knowing what your schedule is, when it comes to being on the ship, you're going to find that Wi-Fi is a pricey. And it's not easy to come by.
Yeah.
You can buy a package, which
It's not cheap. We
it's
did
not
do
cheap.
it because we wanted to stay connected to you guys as much as possible. But I would say it's a good opportunity to unplug from the day to day and just, you get 50 megs free as long as you sign up and register for it on your first day.
First day.
And just maybe use that to quickly check your email or something like that. And if you're using the Navigator app, which Disney has created to communicate with other guests that are on board, you can do that without using any of your Wi-Fi. It doesn't.
You can
pull
connect to
from
the
that
ship
at all.
Wi-Fi
So
and for no charge whatsoever, and then use that to operate the Disney Navigator app.
make sure you download that app before you get on the boat, at the very least before you leave the port, because although using the app is free as far as data goes, and they don't pull that from any data that you may have purchased, downloading it is not. So this is something I found out the hard way because our daughter doesn't have a phone. So she, about halfway through, she's like, well, maybe I can use my iPad so I can at least send you guys texts, which was a great idea, except for we had not downloaded the app yet. So make sure that you download that app before you get started. We were able to download it on all our phones. Even on my middle son's Android, he has like a less expensive phone while he's earning those, or showing us that he can take care of a phone. So in that, it was available for that. It's on Samsung's, it's on Android, it's on LG. You can get it pretty much on all the major phone operating systems. So definitely download that. We found it highly beneficial for communicating with our teenagers. They could just shoot us messages letting us know what they were doing, and we could remind them when they needed to be meet us for dinner and things like that. So definitely take the time to do that. Even if you think you're not going to use it, I promise you, you will. We used it to communicate with other passengers that were friends on board because you can link up with them. It's just really handy because you think, oh, it's a boat, it would be easy to find people. It is. It's
Spread
big.
out.
There's so many places people could be. I mean, we had, like I said, friends on the boat, and we only saw them in passing a couple of times. And anytime we really wanted to see them, we did have to plan that and coordinate it. So make sure you do that. You definitely want to keep in mind times for shows if those are important for you. They do a different show every night. And the shows, if you're on a shorter cruise, only play once. So we missed the first night's
And
show.
we're talking stage shows here. We're not talking movies. We're not talking television shows or anything like that. We're talking,
No.
this is the live theater performances. The very first night was the Golden Mickeys. And I'm thinking, well, that sounds neat, but we're first on the ship and there's so much else going on, I'll catch it later. That was a mistake. They don't have a later if you're doing a four-night cruise. For the Golden Mickeys was the first night. Beauty and the Beast was the second night. I believe was the third.
Yep.
And so those kinds of things, you get one day on the shorter cruises to enjoy them. So just kind of keep an idea of where those are. They usually have 2 performances each night. And the reason that is because there's 2 dining periods. And so they will do one for each of the dining periods. It goes, coordinates with it, so those who aren't dining can enjoy the performance.
Yep.
So just kind of look at the schedule. It's all on the Navigator app, and the best thing you can do is that before you get onto the ship, or as you're just looking through the schedule the first time when you are on the ship, go through, find the things that you just have to see. We have to do that. We want to see this. We cannot not go do this activity. That is the coolest thing ever. Heart it, favorite, and what will happen is if once you heart it and you favorite into the app, 15 minutes before the activity is set to begin, it will give you a notification to let you know, hey, Donald's going to be on the mid deck 3 in 15 minutes. So get on up there and meet him. Or if you want to go see the Lion King 2019 live action film, it's starting in 15 minutes. So head on over to the Buena Vista Theater. So there's a good way to sort of get an idea and make sure you don't miss something that you really, really want to see.
We didn't realize there were certain things that our kids wanted to see until we realized they had favorited things. And so we would get reminders and he'd be like, why did you favorite that? And I'm like, I didn't do it. And we realized that one of our sons had favorited it. That was something they were interested in. So that was kind of funny that we got to get a little snapshot into what interested them when they were looking at the Navigator app, when they would heart something. So.
And that's something to keep in mind. The Navigator app when you sign in under your group, you're back and forth, you're talking. It's all under one registration for the family.
Yeah, per cabin.
Per stateroom. So when you like something, everybody else is going to show up as far as they like as well. Let's talk about dining.
Yes.
Which is why you do anything Disney, right? It's Disney food.
It's all about the food. You guys know me. I love the food, and this did not disappoint for food for me at all. Even with the limitations that I had in regards to having to be gluten-free, they took such good care of me. And we had, I can't think of a bad meal that we had, honestly. Dinners were awesome, and we didn't do any of the upcharge stuff this time. We just, because we wanted a full experience of what it was like just for the average individual, and it was a shorter cruise, so there was no way for us to experience all of the restaurants and Pirate Night and all of that and still go to Remy or Palo. So we did not do that for dinner, and we still had amazing meals. I'm
sure Palo and Remy are amazing, and I look forward to trying them out later as far as, maybe having an anniversary dinner or something special, or just an adult meal in a future cruise. But I don't feel as though I really missed out on anything for this first one. So don't feel as though you have to do the upscale signature restaurants. There's an additional charge for those two. The other ones are so great, you really don't have to worry about it.
They are included in your cruise. Someone was just asking if meals are a part of the cruise or if they're extra. With the exception of Palo or Remy, or as I mentioned, those special character meals, they have character breakfasts on certain itineraries, and they have, let's say, a princess tea on certain itineraries. Those types of items are additional. Otherwise, all of your meals are included, including the dinners. And I mean, they're really nice meals.
So there are 3 main restaurants that are on the Disney Dream. First being what I've already mentioned, the Animator's Palette. There's the Enchanted Garden, and then there's the Royal Palace. All 3 of these are really nice sit-down restaurants. They have full menus that offer light fares, appetizers, usually soups and salads, several courses you can choose from, entrees and desserts. So you're going to get a full meal. So it's not as if, these are going to be upscale restaurants, so I don't know if we can afford to do that. Let's just go hit the buffet or something. It's not that type of cruise. It's included. So when you go to either of those 3 restaurants for dinner, and you are assigned dinner, we'll talk about that a little bit kind of as well. Every night you are assigned a restaurant that you are to eat at for dinner, and they rotate you around so you get to try all of them.
So you get to try all of them,
exactly. And that's the main reason why they do it. And so you get a little taste of everything. All those meals are included. So when you sit down in the Enchanted Garden that first time, you can choose to have an appetizer, a soup, an entree, and a dessert. And guess what? If you can't choose between 2 appetizers,
I can't tell you how many times, because they would pre-order my meals for me to make sure that I had tons of options outside of the ones that were just on the menu already that said they were gluten-free. And I would say, I cannot decide between, and I would list 2 or 3 items, and he'd be just like, oh, I'll order them all for you. And it was just no big deal to them to do that. This is not like, say, a price fixed menu that you might go to, say at Disney World, where you get a choice of one item per each category. I mean, technically, that's kind of their goal, I would imagine, is that you say,
Right.
oh, I want this,
But
and
we don't want
this.
to be wasteful of the food. Because at
No,
the same
exactly,
time,
because it is a lot of food.
if you wanted to try something, they're not going to discourage you from doing so whatsoever.
So
On the very first night, we are one. He was our head server.
he was amazing.
I told him, I said, look, anytime there's something on the menu that has scallops for an entree, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to order it. I love scallops, so just be prepared for that. I'm kind of joking with him, going, if there's scallops, I'm going to get it.
They're my favorite. He's
like, okay,
those are my
gotcha,
favorite.
gotcha. And he could call me Cristobal a couple of times. Fun guy. When he brought me my entree, he set me down a plate of scallops, and before I could even look up and say thank you, he set down a second entree of scallops.
He's like, just so you have
He
enough.
just brought me two. Just because I like scallops, I'm going to make sure you're taken care of. He just brought me two. Several times I couldn't choose between the two. There were like 4 appetizer choices, and I'm like, you know what? I can't choose between the shrimp and the serrano ham. He's like, all right, well, I'm bringing you both. And he just, that's something that it was very nice to do. And it's something that's made available to you, but they are included. So the only difference is specialty cocktails, drinks, regular beverages and soft drinks and stuff like that are included. But if you want the specialty cocktail, or if you want any kind of alcoholic beverage to go with it, of course, there is an additional charge for that. And it's just added to your stateroom fee. Of course, you don't have cash or anything like that. They just add it to your stateroom because you're always sitting at the same table number every night, and they know which room you're in. It's just really easy to do that if you want to do that as well.
And Cretan's Guild says he likes prime rib. I will tell you, prime rib was on the menu it was an option on many of the menus or some variation of that. So you would probably be very happy with all of the menus. So as Chris mentioned, because I book lots of different vendors as a travel agent. So this is there are some really high-end cruise line options other than Disney that have similar types of wherever all the meals are included. But most of the common ones that you think of, Royal Caribbean, Norwegian, Carnival, they have basic dining that's included, and then everything else is going to be an upcharge. And Disney is not like that. So in addition to the dinners that we had, they also have a buffet that's open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, sometimes for snacks late at night. And it's open all the time, and you can choose to dine there instead of your assigned dining option if you want to. Some people do that. It's less stressful for them. Maybe have young kids, or maybe just there's some item they really wanted to do and it just doesn't work with their current dinner reservation. You can absolutely do that, and that is also included. They have some quick service locations on every single boat. On ours, it was like there was pizza, burgers, chicken fingers,
Flo's V8 is
salads.
all cars themed, and there's tomato and all that, and you can get your pizza, your chicken fingers, your sandwiches, and French fries and all that.
Those are included. They have frozen yogurt soft serve in many different flavors.
Oh my gosh, guys, the ice cream. The ice cream. And if that's not something I wasn't prepared for. Now, if you go to Vanellope's, there is a special gelato ice cream shop where you can get the really nice sundaes and stuff like that. There is an upcharge for that. So if you go in and get the specialty sundae, it's going to be $15. Or if you get this sundae with the really cool, that's a charge. Those are upsell, but there are these soft serve machines that are on deck 11. Go ahead and write that down in your notes. You're on the
They're
Dream.
at deck 11 on the Dream and
on
the
the Dream.
Fantasy.
If you go to Disney Dream, deck 11, you go to it. It's right beside the pool. They have 4 machines set up, and they have varying flavors, and you can swirl some of them together. And they just have cones out there, and you just pull your cone down, make yourself some ice cream, walk around the deck, and when you're done, you're done.
They have gluten-free cones available.
The cast member who was working up there that first time we went up to get some, Susan asked for a gluten-free cone, and every time she showed up.
I just asked for a cup. I asked for if there was a cup I could get ice cream in since I couldn't do the cone. And he was like, oh, no, wait, I have gluten-free cones, no worries. And he went and got one for me, and I never had to ask again. He generally worked that area, and as soon as he saw me, he would run and get one for me and be like, oh, got you covered, hang on just a second, and he would go grab one for me. So all of those different dining options, those are all included. In addition to that, at breakfast and lunch, they normally have at least one of the dinner restaurants open as an alternative meal dining option. So even though they have assigned dinners, it's just kind of a free choice on what you want to do for breakfast and lunch, and those are included as well. So if you want to have an a la carte menu instead, or you want a different buffet option, those are available. And you just ask. You just go and tell them you want to dine, and they will put you at the first available table. We never had to wait for breakfast or lunch when we did those a la carte options. They immediately seated us. So I definitely recommend that. It's just as a variety. It's nice to have variety. So those are all included.
So on some of the cruises that you have, there are different options for specialty nights. Of course, we went during the Halloween season, so it was considered to be Halloween on the high seas. That was the theme of the entire cruise, but there is one day that was set aside for Halloween. They were playing Halloween music. People dressed up for Halloween costumes. There was trick-or-treating. There was special Minnie's Masquerade Party, which was really cool to see.
That was fun.
The characters all came out dressed in different costumes. I missed getting a picture with Pluto dressed up as candy corn. I mean, gosh, she's already yellow. But it was, that was the Halloween on the high seas. Other things you can get, we also had on this cruise was Pirate Night. Everyone dresses up, if you want to. If you don't, no one's going to make fun of you. But if you do dress up as pirates, you get to play along. Again, they have special things going along with it, including a special menu, which is the same menu across all the restaurants, but it's all pirate themed. And
for that reason, it's only on cruises 4 nights or longer, so that they're not cutting into your regular dining. So we had 2 nights at one of the restaurants, and one night was the regular menu, and the other one was pirate night.
So other things you can have Marvel Day at Sea. If you choose different Disney Cruise Lines cruises, you can actually have one where they have the Marvel characters come out in this same kind of
Take
scenario.
over the ship for the day.
Or if you're really big into Star Wars, they have Star Wars Days at Sea as well. So depending on when you're choosing your next cruise, think about what will be something that will be really good for you and your family. If you're really big into the Halloween season, that would be great, Halloween on the high seas. If you're looking for something that's either Star Wars or Marvel, you can ask about that. We'll be glad to look that up for you and find a cruise that best fits your family as far as finding a specialty day if you're going to be 4 more nights on a cruise. So those are kind of cool. Matter of fact, when we had our beds turned down for Pirate Night, we came in and lo and behold, we had on our beds, everybody had a bandana, Pirates of the Caribbean bandana. So if you didn't bring pirate stuff, they gave you some pirate gears. Instead of getting chocolates on our beds, we got chocolate coins. Pirate coins. And everyone got into the mood. So it was kind of a fun thing where everyone kind of plays along, and it's a lot of fun. And
that was also the night they did fireworks. So for those who don't know, Disney is the only cruise line that does fireworks at sea. And I asked about that, and it's actually an especially designed firework. It's supposed to be environmentally friendly because they do know that it falls into the water, and they don't want to do anything that would hurt the marine life. So that was a lot of fun.
And what was really funny is that while we were waiting for the fireworks to start on Pirate Night, you could see out in the distance on the horizons of the water, you can see other cruise line ships kind of pulling up and hanging out so they could
suddenly there were
get a
we're
free
in the middle of
fireworks
the
show.
ocean, but there were all of these boats around us so that they could see them as well.
We just happened to be here, so you got fireworks. Well, since we're here, we're gonna watch your fireworks. My thing is, we're listening to really cool pirates music and all that. I'm wondering what soundtracks they were playing on their ships.
Who knows?
But you kind of wonder what's going to happen, what they're doing. But it's kind of fun to do it like that. Speaking of the turn down service, real quick, wanted to talk about the fact that we do have mousekeeping in the staterooms twice a day. And for the twice a day, when you first get up and you go and you have breakfast and you move on to the first part of the day, that's when they come into your room. And if you're like us, we had 5 of us in our stateroom. We had one bed that fit. It was a queen for the size of us. Then there was a couch that was a turn down bed, a bunk bed basically that came out of the ceiling, and then there was a Murphy bed that came down that made the 3rd bed and the other half of the stateroom. Well, after you've had your first meal and you're kind of going out, you come back and all of a sudden your room is not only straightened, the bathrooms are clean, you have fresh new towels. The bunk bed has been put away, the Murphy bed is locked away, and the couch has turned back into a couch. Everything's nice and fresh and clean, and you've got lots of space.
It's done incredibly quickly, too.
Yes.
I was impressed. A couple times we snuck back to the room, he wasn't quite done, but then he was like, give me 3 more minutes, and literally 3 more minutes, and he was finished, and we hadn't even been gone from the room that long.
So if you stay in hotels, you may get used to the fact that they're going to come through and clean your room during the day, but what also happens is, well, you've got to sleep in those beds again. So what happens is while you're at dinner, your stateroom host will come back in and turn down the beds, move everything and get it ready. All of a sudden, our kids' beds were back into place. Their plush animals were like where they're supposed to be, and We had a towel animal or
Some
towel
type
creature.
of towel creation
And
every
the
night.
folding towels
Yes.
were hilarious, and we were always excited to come back to the room and say, "What are we going to see tonight?" On Halloween night, we had a pumpkin. Not joking, guys, a pumpkin
Huge
folded
pumpkin.
and
It
laying
was so
on.
cool.
It's like wow. I wanted to know how it was built, but I was afraid to tear it apart. There was towels there were chocolates, and all of a sudden the beds were coming down. So there is a cleanup service in the morning, and then there's a turn down service at night while
Yeah.
you're at dinner. So
And that's,
for that reason, take good care of your stateroom host and make sure that you're nice to them. They work hard, and if you have any requests, you can ask them, or if you can call up and say, can you do this for the stateroom? And they're more than willing to help out and make sure that you're
Exactly.
as comfortable as possible.
yeah.
Let's talk about Disney's private island.
That was fun, guys. We like that.
That was like a dream come true. It really was.
Yeah, so Castaway Cay. Now, I've heard a lot of people describe it as rustic, and I guess it kind of is when you think about how very up to date everything is on Disney's cruise ships. You get off, and it really is like you're visiting a deserted island that's just been
everything
loosely
is kind of set into the 1940s.
Yeah,
Okay, so it's not meant to be
modern.
contemporary,
No.
brand new, shiny. It is made to be that feeling that you're on a
Look
deserted
antique
island
and
in the back of the
old
40s
and yes.
just having a day on the island. I had always seen, you see promotional things, you see videos of Castaway Cay, and you're like, man, I'll never go there. But you think about it, and that'd be a great place to go. The fact that we were going to go there. Of course, my first introduction to Castaway Cay was the Castaway Cay 5K. So we got up first thing before we even got cleared for deboarding the ship. We gathered together in one of the adult areas in the back, or actually the front of the ship, where everyone was given, as you sign up, you sign forms. Everyone was given a race bib, and you were given instructions on how they were going to walk everybody off the ship together as soon as you get cleared for deboarding. They're going to walk you past the post office. They're going to walk you down into the main area, and there will be a starting line. They'll walk everybody there. They call it the 5K before the 5K, because you have to walk literally all the way down off the ship and all the way through the island. They have trams that take you to the main part of the island, but of course we walked the whole way, which is fine, because if I can't walk to the start line, I don't know what I'm going to do about walking and running to the finish line. But we got that first introduction. A huge number of people were doing the 5K, and it was really hot. Drink lots of water and take your time and have fun with it. But we were able to do that. Both my son and I participated in that, and at the end of the finish line, we got our Castaway Cay 5K medal.
Yep.
So I'm very proud of this, only for the fact that not only was this our first introduction to the island, but it's sort of a mark off the bucket list.
It was our son's first race of
First race
kind.
period. So
And like all of pretty much every other activity on the boat, this is an included activity. So you don't have to pay to register for this Run Disney event, unlike other Run Disney events that are in the parks. So.
And if you are interested, they do have what they call the Castaway Cay Challenge. There are certain cruises that leave after let's say the marathon, the Walt Disney World Marathon that will be happening in January. You can run the races. You can run all the races during the marathon weekend, jump on a cruise ship. And when you get to Castaway Cay, you can then do the 5K. At that point, you will have run every single race that they have within Walt Disney World and for a cruise line, and you get a special medal for that as well. So that was a really fun experience, and I'm really glad that we have that.
That's a good question, Melanie. It doesn't have it on the front. Melanie's asking whether or not it has the year on it. It does not have the year on it.
It is not
Yeah.
dated for a year.
No, but they have so many, there's one on every single cruise that stops at Castaway Cay. They always do the 5K. So.
And so I'm sure that I know people who've done this 4 times or more. They probably have the exact same medal. Yeah. So it's not like you're going to get a different
I'm sure they update it periodically, but no, it's not dated.
But if you were to do the challenge, I'm sure the challenge medal would be.
It probably is, yes.
Because that's a very specific time frame. And other things, Castaway Cay, there are the meals for the day are moved off onto the island. There's 2 barbecue places. There's cookies, and there's cookies 2. It's not 2, it's 2. 2 places.
Also.
Cookies as well. Cookies in addition. But there are places where they have barbecue, lots of different food, and it's a buffet situation there as well.
Very casual.
Very casual. Let's just kind of walk up and get your food and
It
and
is
do
very
that.
much like a barbecue.
I will say this. Let's just be honest here. You know, we're not going to sit here and just tell you everything's wonderful and great. But I will tell you this. After having all those meals on Monday and Tuesday, where they bring you your first course will be lime marinated shrimp with a little bit of quinoa. Okay, that's awesome. That's true. Then we have cold cucumber soup with a little bit of lemongrass. Da, da, da. Well, when you get to Castaway Cay and they're like, all right, here's a cheeseburger.
Here's a hot dog and some corn on the
You
cob
get spoiled.
and some cookies.
You get spoiled the first few days.
So just have realistic expectations.
You're not going to get escargot and salmon eggs
No.
when you get off on the island.
They do have frozen yogurt there.
Yes, they do have. They
They
that
have
as
the
well.
soft serve. Sodas are included too. We didn't mention that before, but any like sodas, milk, tea, hot tea, coffee, that's all included. Most other cruise lines charge you either by the glass or for a drink package for those items, and Disney does not. Those are just included. So those are also available on the island. There is one additional dining location that is for adults only. It is.
Yes, 18 and above.
Yes, it is in their adults only area. And in addition to all of the things that they have at the cookies,
and cookies too.
they also have ribeye. They have a lot of additional condiments and sauces that you might like with your burgers or hot dogs or ribeye. They have some additional sides.
So if you're cruising without kids, or if your kids are gone and you've placed them in the Scuttles Cove, which is a kids area that is free and provided
awesome.
on Castaway Cay. So when you show up with your younger kids, when they're in the Oceaneers Club, they can be checked into the Scuttles Cove and play. Then you can go over to Serenity and Serenity Beach, which is the 18 plus area. You either have to walk over to the other side of the island, or you can take a tram. So they at least help you out there. And when you get over there, you can have the same type of food, plus you can have some steak.
Yes.
So here,
It was good.
this is what we
had
did.
some.
We had lunch at Cookies
with the kids.
with the kids, and then when we took them over to the teen area, we would have jumped on the tram. I messed up, and we walked the entire way.
It's a long walk, guys. Take the tram.
It was a long walk. I did the 5K twice. So we walked to Serenity, and we basically ate a second lunch. But it was a great steak.
It was awesome.
And you can just kind of hang out with some of the other adults, and then you can walk over to the beach and enjoy the Serenity Beach as well. Again,
Yes.
adults.
It's
adults
very
only.
nice and just really relaxing. So
Yep.
they do have the regular beach. They have a kids play area. In the water, it's almost like a playground where they can climb and jump in the water. They have lifeguards there keeping an eye on things. Please listen to the lifeguards if you're there. We saw quite a few guests that were kind of mean to them and very boisterously complaining when they would have to remind those guests about the rules, which are just there for your safety. So let's be kind to them. They're cast members too that are working to make sure that you don't drown. So
Don't get kicked off the beach. Just follow the rules. Who wants to get kicked off the beach on a private island?
Yep.
Speaking of that, I really thought it was going to be really extremely crazy crowded.
it was not.
It was not on the beach. It was. We
I
went later on in the
anticipated
afternoon,
that as
but
well, that it would
wasn't
just
bad
be
at all.
super crowded and it would be, we wouldn't enjoy it. It wasn't. It really did feel like we were visiting a deserted island. It wasn't that busy. In addition to the beaches, they have all kinds of excursions that you can sign up for ahead of time.
Glass
And they
bottom
did
boats, parasailing, and
things that you can just rent once you arrive. They have bikes if you want to bike around. They have all different kinds of games and things away from the water, shuffleboard. They had table tennis. They had basketball. I mean, they just lots of different activities. Say if you're just not a beachy kind of person, I'm going to be totally honest here, guys. I love the idea of the beach, but I
She
really
got her
hate
toes
sand,
wet.
and I'm not a big get in the water. So
I'm
like I
not
took
so
one of the
sure
little
she did all 10
chairs.
toes either.
All 10 toes did go in, but I didn't much farther than that did not. I just sat on the edge of the beach.
It was salt water. I got
enjoyed
all the
it.
way in, closed my eyes, laid back, and floated there for a while.
Yeah.
So that was nice.
We did enjoy it. I will also say, Chris mentioned that the food is off of the boat. They do keep cabanas open.
That is the buffet
the
area.
buffet area, even on, so if you decided I really don't want to get off, or maybe you got off in the morning and you're done before lunch, you can get back on the boat and you can have lunch at cabanas. That is still an option.
So here's the thing, though. We had to be back on the ship by 4:15. So we were not allowed to deboard until right out 8:15. So you had from 8:15 in the morning to 4:15 in the afternoon. You do not want to miss your times for getting back on the ship.
No.
Don't be that person. So when the cruise line director comes along and says, all right, we're going to be boarding back again, like I say for Castaway Cay, 4:15, make sure you put that time down and you stick to that because they do have a strict schedule they want to follow. But it also means that lunch ends at 2 o'clock. So
Yes.
don't lay in the water and all of a sudden I'm hungry and realize that at 2 o'clock
And
there's
think
no
you're
food.
gonna get food.
No,
Yeah.
they shut all the food down at 2 o'clock. You then have 2 hours to basically enjoy everything except for food. They started cleaning up the ice cream machines later as well. I was really disappointed.
They have to clean everything up, and
Get it back on the ship.
they offloaded. I mean, so many towels. Everything comes off the boat, and then for the most part, everything goes back on. So they need time to do that. So just keep that in
So
mind.
it's just, make sure you're on there as well. It was really cool having a stateroom with a veranda because we could see the cast members who were waving to us as we left Castaway Cay. That was a lot of fun. I'll definitely be, I'm looking forward to sharing that video with you guys later after that gets
Yeah.
edited and put back on for you.
We liked it. We spent a lot more time on the veranda than honestly I thought that we would. I just thought it would be cool to have that view. But we actually spent a lot of time sitting out there, especially going to and from ports and just at night time. Sometimes it was nice to just step out there and just in the very far distance you might see a boat or maybe what was obviously an island. But just all of the water and just hearing the water outside of your room was really relaxing. So.
Other activities that you have on the boat, we shared this while we were on there. There's lots of trivia contests. There's lots of
Trivia and
things,
games,
all kinds of games.
Yeah,
And
lots
they have
of
different ones for adults only. They have
Yep.
some for just for kids. They have some
Family.
for families.
Yep.
Everyone can attend. We thought I wanted to do one. I wanted to go to one trivia just for fun. And I told Susan, I said, we got to do one. And I gave her like an option of 3. And I said, which one do you want to do? And she's like, well, let's do the Disney tunes. And my first thought on that was like, really? That's the trivia you want to do is Disney tunes? Okay.
It worked time-wise for other things we had to
Yeah.
do. Honestly, it was just completely
worked
random.
for time.
Yeah.
So we chose one that was at 2 o'clock that afternoon while we were in the Bahamas. So everyone else who was on excursions in the Bahamas, we were actually on the ship doing a trivia contest. And they played just a very small snippet of clips.
Different song,
Of a different song from
movie
a
songs.
movie,
Yeah.
Disney movie, and we had to give not only the title of the song, but the movie it came from.
Yes.
So there was 40 possible answers, and I thought, there's no way they're gonna make this work. But
we won.
we won 37 points out of 40. And the only reason we won, I'll tell you this, the only reason we won, because there was some
Yeah.
trash talking going on at the
A
beginning
lot
of
of
that.
trash talk.
You're going down. I'm like, this is a Disney cruise. Come on.
Let's be
But no,
friendly.
there were some real cutthroat players in there. The only reason we won is all of them were from major classic movies from Disney. Even though some of them were very tricky as far as the
Yeah.
name of the titles and the like. But the last one was from a Disney Channel original movie
That neither of us have seen.
that neither of us have seen. But I knew it was from that movie, and I guessed the name of the song.
It was the only clip that had the name of the song
Inside the
what
clip.
they were singing. None of the others did, so we guessed thinking this can't be the answer because none of the other clips have had the name of the song in what they played. So this is definitely wrong, but we're just gonna write
I
it
don't know
down.
if you guys
so we'll
have any
try something.
guesses as to what that would be, but it was the name of the movie was Camp Rock.
Yes.
And the name of the song was
We Rock.
We Rock.
And that was what they played, was just
Yeah,
the chorus part where they
part
said,
of
we rock,
And
we
I'm
rock,
like, I think
we
that's the name of the
rock.
song, We Rock. And so with 37 points, we won. That kind of fun activity. And they only, people would walk around wearing these from other trivia contests.
Yes.
And they were like, we had people who were...
Stopped us in the hallway, they're like,
What'd
how
you
did you
win?
win
Which
that?
One? Which one did you win? How did you get that one? I'm like, so it was a lot of fun. So they have that kind of stuff to do. The kids, the boys, each won a Disney Cruise Line hat.
A nice hat.
Very nice hat. I'm
Very
going to
nice
steal their hat because they're not going to notice where it's gone, and I'm going to steal
A
it.
pair of socks, Disney
Yes.
socks.
Water bottles, Disney Cruise Line water bottles, a backpack. They were winning all
Liberty
these
got a
really.
pair of sunglasses.
Sarah-
Yeah.
So, and Caleb's walking around with his Disney Cruise Line socks. That's like, it's hilarious. But they all won these really cool prizes. So there's lots of fun activities to do, and there are some prizes. And I have to admit, the kids' prizes, I think, were a little bit better than
They
the
were
adults.
good. They had good
I
prizes.
wish I could have won
They
a hat.
did.
Hey, I got Camp Rock. I want a hat. So lots of fun activities as far as that goes. Some other quick tips. We share this on our Instagram page as well. The doors on the ships are metal. So have some fun and be prepared to decorate your door a little bit. We still have the little things here. We put
Each of them has a portal.
Yeah, there's a portal with your room number on it. And so this was put on the other side of the portal, and then below that we had a little pair of pants. And
there were some really creative
shoes.
doors, though. This was like a last minute, oh, I need to do something.
And
I had read that sometimes you can get lost in the hallways. So just to make it a little, we had to put your magic up. So.
I wanted to put that on there.
Yeah.
You know. So really all it was is you printed something out on paper. Susan went and got some clear contact paper at your local Walmart, Target, whatever.
Yep.
Put contact paper on both sides, cut it out.
Stuck on some magnet strips.
Little magnet strips on the back. Boom, you've got yourself some decorations.
Oh.
We saw people change their door decorations every single day.
I was impressed.
Pirate Day, they had pirate magnets up.
Halloween.
High C, all of a sudden it's all Halloween.
It was crazy.
We had people who had pin boards. They put pin boards up on their door, and you could trade pins on their doors. Talk about being very trustworthy of all the other passengers. And for being Disney Cruise Line, our DVC members, this was on our door when we got there. The DVC people came along and gave us a welcome home member magnet for our door. So that was kind of cool as well. So have some fun with that. And you can also do something called fish extenders.
We didn't do that because I didn't really have the time to devote to that because it's like a gift exchange. You sign up for ahead of time.
It's like a Christmas gift exchange. It's on the ship.
Yeah, and people put little pockets, little hanging things.
So if you want to do something like that, you can Google fish extenders, and you can get into kind of programs with that.
I knew that I wouldn't be able to put together a bunch of gifts for everyone else.
And the last thing I just wanted to bring up is the theater programs. We did see a movie in the theater. They have free movies. All the latest movies that have come out in the past 5 or 6 months that were Disney were all available at different times in the theaters to watch.
If there's one that premieres while a ship is at sea, it also premieres on the boat
Maleficent,
for free.
Mistress of Evil was playing on the ship.
And if we had been on there the Friday that it opened, it would have played there as well. So, yeah, no, Melanie, we haven't done. It seems like it would be cool, right? Oh, you did an ornament exchange, or you're going to do one. That sounds really cool as well. Like I said, I'm a crafty person when I have the time, but I just knew that I didn't have the time to put together something that would be up to par with what everyone else would give me. So, so I just decided not to do that this time.
The fun thing we saw Beauty and the Beast, and I'm so glad we did.
That one was so cool.
That was a great show.
It was very well done.
And I will give this tip as well. This is something that if you're like theater like me, I appreciated the fact we saw 2 shows. The first show we saw in the Walt Disney Theater, we actually sat down ground level.
Yeah.
We got there early to wait for the doors to open, and we got a pretty good seat, center, about 5 rows back. It was a good seat.
Yeah.
The second show we saw the next night, we sat up in the balcony. We thought, oh, that'd be a cool balcony, which is cool.
Views.
It is a cool view.
Generally, it was a really good view.
Here's the exception. If you sit in the balcony, you see things in the production that you do not see if you sit ground level.
Some of the magic is lost.
Yes. So if you have small kids, or if you're like me and you have small minds, it ruins a few things when you're sitting up in the balcony, and all of a sudden you see the stage floor open up. And you're like, there's a huge hole in the floor. And then
before you would be like, oh my gosh, how did they just make that thing appear?
Something just appeared on the stage. Where did that come from? There's a puff of smoke, and all of a sudden there's a guy sitting there. You're like, that's amazing. But you're sitting in the balcony, and like, something's coming out of the floor. So that's one thing I would recommend.
Or going into it.
Or something's about to disappear.
Yeah.
Hopefully the guy knows he's going to disappear if he's just walk around. But so I would recommend sit down if you don't want to have that extra.
Make sure you arrive early. If you want to do that to get decent seats as well.
And no strollers in the theater.
Yeah,
we don't even want to get into that story.
Yeah, no, we're not even going to go there. No.
When you see us in the park, stop us. We'll tell you about the stroller story. Oh my gosh. Not putting that one online. All right, so, but that was those were fun shows. But again, make sure if you want to see it on a certain night, you do see it, because it will not repeat after that night.
For the shorter cruises.
For the shorter cruises. Now, the later cruises, they may have that option, but if you're doing a 4-night, you don't have that option.
Yeah.
And other than that, I thought what we'd do real quick is do our top 3 I thought Susan and I could each have like a top 3 of our favorite things, our top 3 favorite things, and I intentionally did not decide to. I did not want to hear hers.
He
and I
did
just-
not tell me about this, so he's gonna go first so that I can
Oh, we
think
talked
about.
about it a little bit
No,
as far as our top
no.
3, our 3 favorite things about the ship, or about the cruise overall. I think the thing for me, as far as number 3 goes, I did enjoy the dining experience. And when I mean the dining experience, I'm talking about the fact that you had a different restaurant chosen as a sit-down restaurant. You had assigned servers, which made a huge difference because they got to know you. And I'm telling you, I only ordered a Diet Coke one time.
Yeah.
I only ordered Diet Coke that first night, and every single night from then on, when I sat down for dinner, they brought me a Diet Coke. They would always bring Susan gluten-free bread. When we got dinner rolls, there would be some gluten-free rolls coming out, but they knew that that was there. Here's the really funny thing: is that when we would be moved to our table, and it was always table 120, and they had markers on each of the tables. So when you were coming into a restaurant, even if it's a restaurant you haven't been to before, they will lead you to your table, but you could sit there and look for it, and you could find we were table 120. You could find your table 120. The very first night we ate at the Royal Palace, because we ate there twice. The first night we got sat at a 6 top. We chose our seats. And then they removed the 6th space. They took out everything, the plate and all that was removed. So now it is only 4 or 5 spaces instead of 6. I don't know if you noticed this or not. The next night when we came for dinner at the exact same restaurant, because we had a double rotation at the Royal Palace, we got there the second night for Pirate Night. As soon as we got to the table, there were only 5 place settings on the table.
In exactly the configuration
Exactly
that we
the
had
same
sat
set,
the night before.
and where our daughter had sat the night before was a children's menu.
Yeah.
They had already prepped the table specifically for our family based only upon what they'd seen the night before.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of experience to me was something new, and that was something that I think really sets Disney Cruise Lines above anything else as far as that is concerned.
Mm-hmm. For sure. So I have to pick 3.
Yeah.
I would say probably for me, number 3 would have been just the convenience of everything being nearby and the freedom that was allowed my children. So I am by no means a helicopter parent, but at the same time, Liberty, our youngest, actually got to be free and do things that normally she would not normally do. So not normally have the freedom to do. So, that was kind of cool. To be able to allow them that kind of freedom because everything was self-contained. So we could just give them times to be back by and let them choose what activities they want to participate in and not have to worry about that. So that would be my 3, I think.
Number 3?
Yeah.
Number 2 for me seems silly, but we talked about it before. Soft serve ice cream machine. It was something about the idea of just having the freedom as you're walking through the ship to just grab a cone and grab a small little bit of ice cream and just keep walking. The blueberry mango combination was just a great combination for me. So it seems silly, but I can't imagine that every other place will have that freedom to just walk up and just grab a cone. You know what? I'm going to run up and grab a cone before I go to the stateroom or something like that. So we realized that and we had a lot of fun with it. And I think it just kind of, added a little bit of fun and frivolity to it because we would be, hey, we got to go back to the back. Hey, let's grab ice cream. So it was kind of a fun thing to do. To enjoy that. So I know it's silly, but that would be my number 2 was the ice cream machine.
Let's see. My 2 and number 1 are pretty close, but I would say number 2 for me would be just the care of the cast members. So that would include, like he talked about, our servers at dinner, also the attendant that took care of our rooms. They were just incredibly thorough and caring, I guess would be the right word. Yeah, it wasn't just like we were more than just strangers in a room. They took the time to get to know us, our likes, our dislikes, and they seemed to genuinely care about our happiness and our enjoyment. So, for example, on our very last meal on the boat, Liberty was already very sad to be leaving. I mean, she was utterly depressed and just like.
I mean, the menu, you get the menu and you pick up the menu and it says "See you real soon" on it.
It's the "See you real soon" menu, and
It's like the Route 66, you know, "See you real soon." Kind of everything was like you're going away when you ordered. So
they tried so hard to make her happy. Like, and she was just super cranky. The combination of getting up early and then knowing that this was our last meal and we were getting off the boat, and she was so sad the whole time. And they just joked with her and tried to give her different types of food because by then they knew what she liked and what she didn't like. And I mean, they just genuinely cared. And at the end, they were like, "Oh, well, you know, goodbye, Liberty. We're going to miss you." And I mean, she just threw herself at our server. I mean, and just like, almost knocked him over with her enthusiasm just to give him a hug because she was so sad to see him go, you know, and not be around anymore. And that was just a reflection of the concern and care they gave her the entire time we were there. And that was just reflected with pretty much everyone that we interacted with at the quick service, at the frozen yogurt, at the games and different activities
our
we
last
did.
Our last day at sea on Thursday, we were coming out of the room earlier in the morning. We were, you know, we ran into Gio, who was our stateroom host, and he asked what we were going to be doing today for
We're
activities.
like, we have no idea.
We don't know. We're just going to, you know, see what we can find. He goes, "You should go to the towel folding session. They have a session where they're going to teach you how to make the towel animals." And it turns out he was there.
Yeah.
We went, and Gio spent majority of the time helping
Helping
Susan.
us, because I was not very good at it. I'm so much
I'm
respect
sure he was
for
there to
those
help
now.
everybody in the class. He wasn't teaching the class, but he was there to assist. But he spent the entire time helping Susan out, just because, you know.
And then he would like other people that were close to us. He would help after, but yeah, they just really got to know you, and I love that. So that would probably be my 2.
I've got some video of that. I'm gonna put that up as well later on YouTube, of the towel folding
That was
session.
a lot of fun.
I was supposed to fold towels as well. There's no way. Have you ever tried to fold a towel into an elephant with one hand and a camera? No, it just wasn't happening. So that was kind of cool. So that was your number 2. My number 1, here's the thing, is not necessarily Disney related, but it has to do with cruising. I'd never been cruising before. I'd never been on a ship like this. So for me, I think the best thing about the cruise was being able to sit on the veranda and watch as the water went by. Getting up early and watching the sun come up over the horizon. I got to see and be up early enough to see Nassau come up over the horizon and see it coming in the distance as I looked out to the side of the ship. And I knew something was coming. Turned out later on it was Atlantis coming up on the other side of the port. And we actually came out onto the veranda and watched as we slowly came in to the Bahamas. I did the same thing, got up early, got to see the sunrise as all of a sudden the ship was turned and backed into Castaway Cay. We got to see the entire process. That was just something that I think really made it special for me as far as a cruise is concerned. So I didn't know whether or not we get a lot of use out of the veranda, but I can tell you now that if I were to do this cruise again, it was in an indoor room, I would have missed out on some really cool experiences.
Yeah.
So to say that when you guys are ready to book and make a Disney cruise or any cruise happen, if you have a choice to get of something where you can be out and see and have an ocean view or even be out like a veranda, to me that made a huge difference. And so I really enjoyed that experience, and being out on the water and just sitting out there sometimes for a few minutes was really a great experience for me. So that was my number 1. Not with a Disney stamp, but still it was part of the cruise, and that's what made a big difference for me.
So my number 1 is going to be his number 3, and that's the food. And as you guys know, I am often limited in my dining options when we go out to eat anywhere. And even to a certain extent when I go to Disney, it's somewhat limited. But I just felt like it was never a hardship while I was there. It was no big deal. And not only that, but once, just like with our drinks, because we had the same servers every night, once they knew what my limitations were, they just went out of their way to make sure that I had all of the options available to me. And that went insofar as the night before, they would bring me the menu for the next night's restaurant and say, here's the menu. And pretty much every menu had standard things that were marked gluten-free or vegetarian. Those items were all listed, but I wasn't limited to those things. So our server would put the menu in front of me. He would walk away. He would come back and he would ask me what looked good. And for the most part, I can't remember a single thing that I thought I would love to have that they weren't able to make for me in a way that I was able to eat it. So I would just tell him what I liked, and he would be like, sure, we can make that happen.
And as you mentioned also before, at the end of every meal, he would go and get the menu from the restaurant for the following day and let you look at it, and you could go ahead and order your food.
Yes,
early.
yes, exactly. So it was kind of funny whenever they would come take our orders. He would never ask me, and he would not even hand me a menu because he had already asked me what I wanted, and he already had my order.
We had to look at a menu and pick something out, and she already had her food ready.
We did have dinner at one point, an a la carte in one of the restaurants, and our servers were assigned to the concierge area for those fancy high-end guests. So they couldn't seat us in that area because we were not concierge guests. So he kept sneaking over and taking care of us. And that just extends back to that number 2 for me, where he would, I didn't have gluten-free bread.
Yeah, this is a walk-in meal. This was for lunch.
This is a walk-in.
This
They
wasn't
just
an assigned
assigned you
area.
to whatever table was available.
We just walked in, got sat at a random table, had a random server helping us, and over in the corner we saw We Are One. And
Liberty
we
went
told
over to
Liberty
say
go
hello. Yes.
And from then on, he would come over and take care of
He
us.
slipped over and he asked me, have they already brought you bread?
It was
And I was like,
confusing
no.
to our
So he
other
went and got
server
it. He
because
brought
he
us
kept
drink refills.
showing up and giving us stuff.
Yeah, so Liberty decided she didn't like the appetizer that she had chosen originally, and he happened to be close by when she mentioned that, so he just went and got her something else. So, but the food was just, it was so good, and to not have any upcharge for that food, and to just always have so many different options available to us. I mean, oh, we're hungry, let's stop by Cabanas and get a snack. Oh, we want some ice cream, well, let's just go get some. And it was just there, and it was always available, and not have to think about pulling out your wallet or your Magic Band or anything, knowing that you're going to scan it and there's going to be a bill later. Nothing like that.
Yeah.
So I love that. That was my number 1 for sure.
Man, I got to have Eggs Benedict twice with hollandaise sauce.
That's right.
So a little bit of hollandaise sauce on a holiday. So it was really nice. So that was, that's sort of, to be honest, to fit this all into the short period of time we were just talking about things. There's still a lot of things to talk about. We're going to put some more video together. I'm going to put some things and release them as they get edited. I'll release them here and so often on our YouTube videos.
Just to show some of the things.
So if you guys are watching this afterwards and doing a replay and you're not already subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do us a favor and hit the subscribe button. Hit that bell notification so you'll know, and you'll get a little update letting us know, hey, Ear to Ear Magic has put up a new video, and it's all about their first day on the Disney Dream. Or, hey, they're folding towels. That was cool. I want to go check that out to get that notification, and we'd love to have you guys a part of our YouTube community as well.
Yeah.
Again, if you guys ever have any questions about Disney Cruise Lines, or are looking forward to or thinking about taking a Disney cruise, let us know.
We'd be happy to assist you with that. And as Chris mentioned, we have followers that were on this, that follow us on Instagram that came along with us for this. And we're planning on doing like a yearly Ear to Ear Magic. Everyone come, we'll post.
This is too good of a cruise. I'm going to do it again next year, and I want you guys to go with us.
We would love for you to come with us. So if you would like to know what our dates are going to be for that, definitely contact us. It's our contact information for any travel related items is in in the information underneath the video. Feel free to get in touch with us and let us know that you'd be interested in going on the next Ear to Ear Magic Cruise. And we will keep you in the loop for that because we would love for you guys to come along. It's fun to see people you know.
Just passing
on
through the
the
hallways.
cruise.
We'll meet you at the ice cream machine at
Yep.
least 4 or 5 times a day. So it's not something where we're going to set you up a schedule and we're going to be in your face the entire time.
No.
But it is cool to be able to say, you know what, we're going to meet together for this meal. Or you know what, for 2020, I want all of us and our Ear to Ear Magic followers to walk into one of those trivia contests and dominate that place. Because you work as teams.
That's right.
We're going to have all of us as one huge group walk in and just tell everybody else you might as well just leave. Because we're all walking out with one of these. But no, that would be a lot of fun. So we are looking for that. So if you're interested, let us know. Or keep your ears and eyes open for our announcement when we're going to have actual dates for that.
Yep.
So now, I know we've only got a few people at the moment who are watching, but does anybody have any questions that they'd like to ask specifically about Disney Cruise Lines, the Disney Dream, Castaway Cay, the Blueberry Mango ice cream that we brought up a couple times? Feel free to throw that in there and let us know. And also, if you're watching this after the fact and there's a question that pops up and you'd like to
Head
know,
it in the comments. We'll be
throw it
happy
in the
to
comments.
answer it.
We'll be
Yes.
jumping back on there and making sure we get an answer to you as well.
Yep.
The main thing about this is, and one of the reasons we created Ear to Ear Magic back in 2016 was that we wanted to share information that we had seen firsthand and be able to share it with someone else so that they could utilize that for their benefit, and they could make their vacation time and their cruise better for them because they had already heard about it from someone else who can share the good stuff and the bad. So I don't know if we've had any questions that have
Not
popped up.
really. No, there weren't really. There were some food questions that we've already answered, and Melanie mentioned that she thought Norwegian Cruise Line also did fireworks, but I didn't have a chance to respond to that. But then she also looked it up and she realized that they don't do them anymore.
They have
So
sparklers.
Disney is currently the only one that does fireworks while they're at sea from their cruise ships. So. But
Now I'm going to tell you, just to be honest and open, the Pirates fireworks, they're not happily ever after. Okay, you're not going to have projections out on the water and giant,
But they're shooting them from off of the cruise ship,
Yeah,
so
they're
they're a
coming
little
off-
more limited.
they're right there, and they actually rope off certain parts of the ship.
They
so
were
that they'll be
still
safe.
very much ooh and ah because they're closer to you. So we were on the very top deck that you could see them from, and they still were a big wow. So
Yeah. So those kind of special events like that. There's just some very big things that I would say are must-dos. Make sure you get the sailing away party at the beginning.
Yep.
That's pretty cool. If you're doing pirate night, make sure you check out the characters dressed up as pirates and some of the fun things that go along with that.
Yep.
There is a See You Real Soon show that's the night before.
It's a little sad.
It is very sad. There are lots of people very emotional because the thing about the See You Real Soon party is all the characters come out, and then for half an hour they do a big kind of dance as they get introduced. They all come in their really cool costumes, their nautical gear, and they all spread out all over the mid deck. And then everyone can jump in a line, and it's like it's a mad rush to get as many photos as you can because there's only one photo per person. They have a cast member. You run up, you smile, and get a picture, run over to the next line. Everybody's trying to meet the characters as quickly as we can because after about 20 minutes of line dashing and meet and greets quickly, the characters go back up to the stairs. They do one last See You Real Soon song, and then they go.
And they're gone.
And that's it. There are no more characters for the rest of the cruise. So make sure you don't miss to See You Real Soon, but especially if you've got younger kids or something like that, it's something it's sort of a mental preparedness for the fact that your cruise is ending and you'll be getting off the ship the next day. So, if there are no other questions, but here's the thing: as always with you guys for Instagram, for Facebook, for YouTube, if you guys ever have any questions, you can always reach us through any of those medias. We'll be glad to help you out. We, of course, do have travel clients. We would love to help you guys out. There are no fees to use our services.
No.
Because guess what? The vendors pay us to help you.
So you don't have to.
It's the same thing. It's the same price as if you did it yourself, but we can help you out. And we love doing that. It's just part of the fun. And then I think it's funny that somebody else pays us to help other people,
Yeah.
and we get to have fun
It's
doing
built
it.
into the cost
So-
of your travel no matter what, so, you
Might as
know,
well don't do it by yourself.
help us.
Do it with a friend, and then hopefully in
And then we can
2020
help
go
you.
cruising with a friend. So
Yes.
we're looking forward to that. So reach out if you ever have any questions. But even if you're not a travel client, don't hesitate. We're here as a resource. We want to make sure that we can help you guys out with anything Disney Cruise Line, Walt Disney World, or anything of that nature. So thank you guys for watching tonight. I hope that it's been beneficial. If you have some friends who have talked about going on a cruise or have talked about going on a Disney cruise, do us a favor, share this video with them or our information, and we'll be glad to help them as well. And now that we are back off the cruise, we're going to be back here at Disney World and hitting the parks and the hotels on a daily basis.
That's right.
So if you're coming to Disney World, keep your eyes out, because we'll be glad to say hello. And if you do see us in the parks, do say hello, because that's what we enjoy doing on a daily basis. So again, thanks for watching. Hope you guys have a great night, and we'll see you in the parks.